Hi everyone. Just yesterday I shared an article about using this time to slow down and to switch off from online and to reconnect with our families. And the irony is not lost on me that the very next day I'm back online talking to you. But I was very conscious that in the article I talked about using this time to pray. And thought, well, hang on, some people, Christians and non-Christians alike, in this situation will just think, how on earth do I pray about this pandemic? I don't even know where to start. So I just thought it might be helpful to share how I felt God lead me to pray appropriately for this. So if you read that article, and I'll put it in the comments so you can link to it, I talk about how I do actually believe that God is at work in this pandemic. But that doesn't mean that I believe it's from him. I feel he's particularly at work in the kind of self-isolation bit that we're all being asked to do. I certainly do not believe that his plan and purpose is death and illness for us, and I do not believe it's a judgment. But I do think that we are also subject to a world that is corrupt, and there is evil in it and things that are wrong in it, and there are consequences of that, and sickness and disease is one of those consequences. And I do believe that there is an enemy called the devil who seeks, the Bible says he seeks to rob and destroy and kill. And so I think that there's a twisting of God has purpose and plan in this, but there is also a battle on. So really how I've been praying, first and foremost, is that death would stop, that the death rates would decrease rapidly and would not continue to increase, and that the virus would be held back. And the reason that I'm praying that is so that the NHS staff will be able to cope with the people that are hospitalised as a result of coronavirus, and therefore preserve life and prevent death. I'm praying that medics and scientists would be given and shown the answers and treatment solutions, not only long-term for a vaccine, but also ways to treat patients to keep them alive and to cure them. And I'm praying that they would be given revelation for that. But in that, and I'm praying that the spread of the virus stops now, so that we don't have this continual increase in death rates and hospitalisations. But in that, I'm conscious that even if that were to happen today, which I believe it can, there will still be this kind of 2 or 3 weeks where many of us, as we've been told, have already caught this virus and aren't aware of it yet, and we're going to get ill in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So there's still going to be these 2 to 3 weeks minimum of isolation, probably longer until we're really sure we've beaten this thing. And so in that time, my prayer is that people would use that time to seek God, to turn their hearts towards him, to rediscover their souls, to pray and to understand what God is doing, that he loves them, and that ultimately he would show mercy to us. Mercy is kindness that we don't deserve. Mercy is removing a punishment that was due to us. And so I'm praying for God's mercy to be shown, and his love. I'm praying that as people are at home, that they might open Bibles, that they might log on to find an online Bible if they don't have one, or they'll tune into a church service and they will meet Jesus and be met by his Spirit. And as they seek him, they will find peace and comfort. That as the medical staff seek to heal and restore those of this virus, those of us that escape the virus but are at home would be healed spiritually and would find spiritual healing and restoration, and hope and peace. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to talk for too long, but I will check in. I lead a parents' prayer meeting at my primary school, and we only had the chance to meet once before the school was closed. I just started it, but I'm not going to let that stop us praying. And so I will check in again with inspiration for how to pray, and encouragement for how to pray, and perhaps even what God is saying. God bless, take care, seek God, find rest.